All things are peaceful only. Humans cause trouble.
Hello, welcome to Listen. Today, we're going to talk about some quite interesting material. Its core concept is, all phenomena are fundamentally tranquil, it is only humans who stir up trouble. Have you ever had this kind of experience where things don't seem that serious, yet they make you feel unsettled inside, even causing pain for days? This material says the problem may not lie in the things themselves, but rather in ourselves. For example, when you hear about things like Peruvian live frog juice or Italian live maggot cheese, your first reaction might be disgust, right? But the reason might simply be that unlike with the foods we usually eat, we haven't repeatedly explored, confirmed, grasped, and defined those items. So all things in the world might originally be neutral, and maybe the disturbances really come from our own making. Your question exactly hits the core. Where do these so-called disturbances, or what we can call the dust in our hearts, actually come from? The material points out that their sources are accumulated habits over time. It uses a term called smearing habits. Through these habits, our senses repeatedly contact external people, things, and events. This is called root retention of past dust. Then, in our minds, various impressions and concepts form, which the material calls perceptions of thoughts. Up to this point, this is not necessarily a big problem like dust, it might be plentiful but doesn't necessarily stick. So the perceptions themselves are still neutral. When then do these become the troublesome dirt? Good question. The key lies in the next step. When we add strong emotions to these perceptions such as likes and dislikes, judgments, this emotional element transforms the simple dust into hard to clear dirt. This is what is called emotional consciousness as dirt. Let me give an example. You see a cell phone that is a perception, just an image. But you may immediately think, this is my favorite brand, I must buy it. Or, this brand is terrible, I would never touch it. Such strong likes and dislikes are the emotions. This emotion acts like superglue, sticking the originally neutral image firmly onto your heart as dirt that is very difficult to remove. Oh, I think I get it now. So the key point is that what causes us pain is often not the people or things outside themselves, nor even our thoughts about them, but rather the emotional weight or the good or bad labels we attach to those thoughts. So this is what all phenomena are fundamentally tranquil means. These things essentially have nothing to do with you. Wow, that sounds very absolute, but it kinda makes sense. Like the material says, we constantly care about my food, my play, mine, or not mine. For example, a banana is just there on its own, but after repeated experiences of calling it tasty, we attach a label. This is a perception. Then we form feelings like I really want to eat it, I must have it, which are the emotions, and then we start causing a fuss over it. Exactly right. This fuss comes from that repeated cycle you just mentioned, understanding, confirming, grasping, defining again and again, until these concepts become deeply rooted. So just how hard is the dirt caused by emotions to clean? The material uses an interesting comparison to highlight this. It compares us to animals. Yeah, I see that and find it fascinating. It mentions cats and chickens. Apparently, they don't have as many complex troubles as we humans do, caused by expectations and definitions. Right. The material gives examples such as a mother cat caring for her kittens without complaining that the father cat is irresponsible, or chickens finding food and calling to each other without fighting endlessly over who gets more. The point of this comparison isn't that animals are dumb or noble, but to remind us that many of our human sufferings and complicated relationships come from learned social habits, particular fixations, definitions, and expectations, not that things or relationships are naturally that way. It seems we often misuse our so-called high intelligence to create troubles for ourselves. Wow, that really makes one think. Are we often using intelligence in the wrong places? Then the material also talks about a more abstract concept called phantoms on the screen. What does that mean? How does it help us see clearly? This metaphor is quite striking. It aims to explain that all the dazzling external people, things, and the internal thoughts and feelings we have are like images on a movie screen. You look at those images, and they appear because of the screen called emptiness or reality in the material, right? But the images themselves come and go. They are not the screen itself and have no absolutely unchanging substance. If we truly see through this, recognizing that all the love, hate, emotions, rights and wrongs played in our minds are just light and shadow cast on the screen of our spirit created by ourselves as a result of fabrication, then the Dharma eye becomes clear. Is it like finally realizing that we are not characters in the movie, but the audience who can choose what to watch, or even turn the movie off? Yes, that understanding fits perfectly. The so-called clear Dharma eye does not mean you have to struggle to suppress your thoughts or fight your feelings, but to clearly see through this self-directed process. See through these mind consciousness objects and their illusory nature. When you really understand that everything is merely images appearing on your mind's screen, you naturally become free from their bondage effortlessly. Such clarity itself is freedom. So overall, the core point we explored this time is that the external world and all phenomena are originally peaceful. It is our inner selves continuously defining and judging these perceptions plus strong emotional reactions, that is emotional dirt, that create all kinds of disturbances. It is only humans who stir up trouble. And why do we find some people and things so real and important? Because through repeated smearing habits, we have trained them to be incredibly solid. Yes. Seeing all this clearly, like seeing those phantom images on the screen, achieving what is called the clear Dharma eye, means fundamentally understanding this mechanism, and no longer letting the images and emotions we create lead us around by the nose. This is not passive, it is a more fundamental freedom. Finally, here is a question for you to ponder. The material says some people prefer to choose flavorful troubles rather than accept bland calmness. Are there definitions or perceptions that you deeply believe in, that you find super important about success, love, self-worth, etc., that are hardest for you to let go if you try to see them also as phantoms on the screen, images you may choose not to emotionally invest so much in? Would your feelings be any different? This might be a direction worth exploring yourself.